Hello, friends! Have you ever imagined what life would be like if, one day, the entire world lost electricity? No lights, no phones, no internet. Everything would be so different, right? Well, today, we're going on a special adventure with a boy named Raka, who suddenly wakes up and finds himself in a world just like that, a world without any electricity at all. Let's see what he discovers. One morning, Raka woke up, feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. He stretched and reached over to his bedside lamp, flicking the switch. Click! Nothing happened. The room was still dim. That's weird, he thought, and tried again. Click! Still dark. Feeling a bit confused, Raka hopped out of bed and padded down the hallway to the kitchen. The smell of wood smoke filled the air. He saw his mother hunched over a crackling fire, cooking in a big pot on a traditional firewood stove. "Good morning, sweetheart," she said with a warm smile. "Breakfast is almost ready." Raka looked around, his confusion growing. "Mom, why are you cooking on that? Where's the gas stove? And why is the fridge so quiet?" "It's not humming," his mom simply chuckled, her eyes twinkling. "Because, my dear Raka, in this world, there is no such thing as electricity." Raka's eyes widened. No electricity? What did that even mean? He stepped out the front door, and the first thing he noticed was a silence. It wasn't an empty silence, but a different kind of quiet. The usual roar of motorbikes and the hum of air conditioners were gone. He couldn't hear the faint sound of a television from a neighbor's house. Instead, the air was filled with the proud crowing of roosters, the cheerful chirping of birds, and the rhythmic creak of a well pulley as people drew water for the day. It felt like stepping back in time. As he walked through the village, everything was a new discovery. He saw a group of children laughing and kicking around a ball that wasn't made of plastic, but of tightly bundled cloth scraps. A postman on an old bicycle cheerfully rang his bell as he delivered handwritten letters, not bills from an email inbox. At the local market, a shopkeeper was carefully rubbing salt into fresh fish to preserve them, laying them out to dry in the sun instead of tossing them into a freezer. This world, without electricity, had its own rhythm, its own clever ways of doing things. At night, families didn't gather around a glowing television screen. Instead, they lit small, flickering oil lamps. Their warm, gentle light cast dancing shadows on the walls as they sat together, sharing stories and laughter. It was intimate and cozy. Raka watched all of this, a sense of wonder growing inside him. But he also felt a little lost. "Wow," he thought aloud. "This world is so strange. No phones to call my friends, no internet to look things up, and definitely no online games. What does everyone do when they get bored?" Just then, a young girl with bright, curious eyes approached him. "Hi, I'm Lena," she said with a friendly smile. "I'm Raka," he replied, looking at the simple wooden toy she was holding. Lena seemed to understand his confusion. "When we get bored?" she repeated his question. "We play together. We run through the fields. We sing songs our grandparents taught us. And when we want a new toy, we make one." She held up her wooden spinner proudly. "It's more fun that way, don't you think?" Just as Raka was starting to get used to this new, quiet life, the afternoon brought a serious challenge. A hush fell over the village as news spread that an elderly grandmother, beloved by everyone, had fallen ill. She needed to see the doctor right away. Raka followed the worried group of villagers to the local clinic, his heart pounding. But when they arrived, his stomach dropped. The clinic was just a simple room. There were no bright overhead lights, no whirring fans to cool the air, and certainly no beeping medical machines. "Oh no!" Raka whispered anxiously to Lena. "How can the doctor help her? All his equipment needs electricity." He imagined the modern hospitals in his world, filled with technology that could diagnose and treat illnesses in minutes. How could they possibly manage here? The doctor, a kind man with gentle eyes, overheard Raka's worried comment. He turned and answered in a calm, reassuring voice. "It's true, young man. We don't have fancy machines, but that doesn't mean we are helpless." He pointed to shelves lined with jars of dried herbs and remedies. "We have our knowledge, passed down through generations. We have medicines made from the plants that grow all around us. We learn from nature, and most importantly," he added, placing a comforting hand on the grandmother's forehead, "we have our care for one another." Raka watched, fascinated, as the doctor worked. He used his hands, his eyes, and his ears, listening intently to the grandmother's breathing. He prepared a traditional herbal tea and spoke to her in a soothing voice. It wasn't fast or flashy, but it was filled with wisdom and genuine compassion. In that moment, Raka understood something profound. Technology is helpful, but the human spirit of caring and helping each other is a power all its own, one that doesn't need to be plugged in. As dusk settled, the world was plunged into a deep, unfamiliar darkness. The town was swallowed by the night. There were no streetlights casting a yellow glow, no colorful signs from shops, and no blue light from phone screens. For the first time, Raka felt a flicker of fear. The darkness felt huge and absolute. "Ah, it's so dark," he said, his voice a little shaky. "I can't see anything. If only we had electricity, I could just flip a switch, or even just look at my phone for some light." Lena, who was sitting beside him, just smiled. She carefully struck a match and lit a small paper lantern. A soft, warm glow pushed back the darkness around them. "It's okay to be scared of the dark, Raka," she said softly. "But look up." Raka tilted his head back, and his breath caught in his throat. He gasped. The sky was an endless blanket of velvet, scattered with what looked like millions of tiny, shimmering diamonds. Without the pollution of city lights, the stars were incredibly bright and clear. He could see constellations in the faint, milky haze of the galaxy. It was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen, a sight completely hidden in his brightly lit world. Soon, other children and families gathered in the village square, each carrying a lantern or a candle. An old man sat in the center and began to tell an ancient folktale, his voice rising and falling in the quiet night. The children listened, captivated. Afterward, they sang songs together, their voices echoing under the vast, starry sky. Someone started making shadow puppets against a wall, their hands creating birds and rabbits that danced in the candlelight. Laughter filled the air. Raka looked around at the happy faces, all illuminated by the gentle, flickering flames. He whispered to himself, "Wow, even in the dark, even with nothing, people can still create their own light and find so much happiness together." The next morning, Raka's eyes fluttered open. He felt different, rested. He reached for his lamp switch out of habit. Click! A bright, familiar light flooded the room. He blinked. The low hum of the air conditioner kicked in, and from the kitchen, he could hear the distinct sizzle of something cooking on the gas stove. He was back. It had all been a dream. A huge smile spread across his face. Phew, he breathed, a wave of relief washing over him. He was so grateful for the comfort and convenience that electricity brought. It helped him study at night, connect with his friends, and powered so many things that made life easier. I'm so glad electricity is here, he said to himself. But he paused, remembering the starry sky and the warmth of the community storytelling. I also learned that even without it, we can still find so much joy and connection with the people we care about. So, my friends, Raka's dream teaches us a valuable lesson. Electricity is an incredible gift that powers our modern world, and it's something we should never take for granted. That is why it is so important for us to use it wisely and do our part to save energy. Let us remember to turn off the lights when we leave a room and unplug our devices when we are not using them. By saving electricity, we ensure that we can all continue to enjoy its amazing benefits for a long, long time to come. And just like Raka, let us always remember to be thankful for both the wonders of technology and the simple joys of being together. Thank you so much for joining Raka's adventure today. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures. See you next time.